Do you know this guy? That's MrBeast, one of, if not the most successful YouTuber in the world, who just recently passed the 100 million subscriber mark on his main channel. And as much as he looks like your average Joe, short brown hair, medium build, not particularly well dressed, he's actually the most clever businessman on the platform and created a business empire that literally brings millions of dollars each month. So how has Mr. Average Joe, aka MrBeast, become so successful? How did a 24-year-old YouTuber end up being YouTube's highest earning creator, earning an estimated $54 million in 2021 alone? Well, in today's video we will find out that a large part of his success needs to be attributed to a strategy that Amazon used to become the trillion-dollar company it is today. Now, to answer the question of how MrBeast became the Amazon of content creation. First of all, I'd like to introduce the idea that the space of YouTube, a video content creation platform, works just like any other regular competitive economic market. Creators are in fact in direct competition with each other, competing for viewers, for their time and their attention. And when creators see that something works, the idea will be copied on other channels as well, which then in turn leads to saturation and fewer clicks for everyone. Take thumbnails on which there is a close-up of a person with a taped mouth, for example. Once this type of thumbnail works and is successful for one creator, others will just follow and you then no longer stand out from the crowd. But somehow MrBeast has managed to make his content so unique that it is very hard to replicate. It's just like in business. The harder it is for competitors to copy what you are doing, the less competition there will be. Think of Apple, for example. While it's fairly easy to create a smartphone, there are literally hundreds of different smartphone brands out there. In Q2 of 2021, Apple captured 15% of the smartphone market. But what's even more impressive is that the company captured 75% of the profits of the smartphone market and 40% of the revenue during that quarter. And just like Apple has built a monopoly on premium smartphones, MrBeast has built a monopoly on YouTube. A YouTube monopoly. And there is one key lesson that investors can learn from the way MrBeast approaches YouTube. So why is what MrBeast is doing so hard to replicate? I think there are two aspects worth considering. First, MrBeast's content itself is pretty unique. He always comes up with crazy ideas, and while the fast-paced style can be copied, MrBeast's personality cannot. But secondly, what's much harder to replicate and what I think truly manifests his monopoly-like position on YouTube is the insane amount of money that he is willing to spend on each of his new videos. In fact, in an interview with Rolling Stone, MrBeast revealed that each video for his main channel costs about $1 million to produce. He's quoted saying, "I could be doing cheaper videos, but I just don't want to. I want to push the boundaries to go bigger and bigger." In another interview with fellow YouTube creators Colin and Samir, MrBeast offered some more and rare insights into the economics of his video production. His monthly spending on content creation mounts up to $4 million, bringing his total annual video budget to $48 million. His most successful and most watched video is his Squid Game recreation video, which cost him $3.5 million in total, $2 million on the set and another $1.5 million on prizes for participants. And as of today, the video has a total of 277 million views. To give you some context, that's more than 3 times the population of Germany, or about the same amount of views as the last 3 Super Bowls combined. So why exactly does MrBeast follow the Amazon playbook? And why is this model so powerful in terms of defending one's position? Well, in order to understand this, let's take a look at the world of business. But before we do this, I want to give a shout out to Frank Tabor, who has actually articulated the connection between Amazon and MrBeast in a fantastic Twitter thread. You can find him under the Twitter handle @FrankInvesting, and he's also publishing some amazing posts on his Substack blog. So back to the video. In order to understand, MrBeast's success, we will now take a look at a mental model, a business model that characterizes some very high quality and very unique businesses. This model is called scale economies shared, and the term was actually coined by Nicholas Sleep and his partner Zakaria, who founded the investment partnership Nomad Capital. So what is this model? Well, generally, once a company reaches scale, management has two options: let profit margins expand or reduce prices for customers. And typically, larger and dominant companies use their scale to raise their own margins to generate higher profits, greater profits in the short term. But Sleep and Zakari, well, they believe that although at the surface level this may appear attractive, a good investment decision, they think this decision may be somewhat short-sighted and doesn't necessarily create the most value for shareholders and doesn't improve a firm's competitive position. In fact, they think it might weaken the company's position, as high profit margins often attract competition, almost like honey attracts bees, and higher prices may actually also turn off customers. So the alternative is the scale economies shared model, which describes businesses that share the benefits of scale, for example, by lowering prices or improving their offering. They share it with their customers in order to win market share over the long term, rather than increasing prices and or reducing their investments to maximize per unit profit in the short term. As Nick Sleep wrote, increased revenues begets scale savings, begets lower costs, begets lower prices, begets increased revenues. It's a flywheel, and eventually it generates momentum and requires minimal additional effort. The competitive position is strengthened as the business's scale keeps growing, making it harder and harder for competitors to come up with a similar value proposition. And this is exactly what Amazon has done over the last 2 decades, making it the $4.1 trillion market cap behemoth it is today. William Green, author of the book Richer, Wiser, Happier, he wrote, "And then there was Amazon, the ultimate practitioner of scale economies shared. Bezos was ruthlessly efficient about controlling costs. Bezos was obsessed with saving money and time for customers. And he invested patiently for the future, seeding new business initiatives that he didn't expect to bear fruit for 5 to 7 years. Each year, he invested hundreds of millions of dollars in the form of discounted prices and shipping subsidies." Bezos himself also explained why he followed exactly this strategy: relentlessly returning efficiency improvements and scale economies to customers in the form of lower prices creates a virtuous cycle that leads over the long term to a much larger dollar amount of free cash flow, and thereby to a much more valuable Amazon.com. And while, unlike Amazon, MrBeast is not obsessively focused on cutting costs. Just like Amazon, he too operates at losses on some videos and generates very thin margins on other videos, and he is most certainly obsessive about providing the best possible value to his audience. He creates his very own virtuous cycle in a way. The more money he makes, the more money he can invest in future videos, creating higher and higher quality content for his viewers, and in a way he is passing his profits back to his audience by doing exactly this. In another interview, MrBeast said, "I only want money so I can make better videos, so I can grow my channel. I don't care about making money, I don't care about time, I just want to make the best videos on the planet." And this is what gives him a competitive advantage, given the scale that he has reached now with over 100 million subscribers. No one else, or at least very few people, can actually compete with him, as no one can afford to spend this much money on the production of YouTube videos. Again, MrBeast says, "There's a reason other people don't do what I do." Now, if you want to become a better investor and learn more about the scale economies shared model and how companies like, for example, Netflix or Wix may apply the same philosophy, I recommend you watch the following 2 videos next. Take care.